Welcome to the HR department, your front row seat to conversations about the modern workplace and everything shaping the world of work. Powered by HRKyle Services, your guide through the world of work. This podcast is hosted by Kyle Patrick Smith and Becki Smith, two passionate voices bringing decades of experience, real-world insight, and a no-nonsense approach to the issues that matter most to employees, leaders, and HR pros alike. From hiring and culture to leadership and layoffs, nothing's off the table. So clock in, tune up, and get ready. The HR department starts now.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the HR department. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Becki.
And we're happy to have you here today. Yeah, we're going to stay on this theme, Becki, around my book, Recruiting is Easy. And we've got a couple of chapters that you've identified that we're going to cover this week. So I'm going to turn the floor over to you and let you run our agenda.
Okay. So we are talking about chapters 4 and 5 in the book today, and it deals with partnerships, external partnerships. So the HR person is not working on this by themselves. And then also colleges, universities, those very important your local community colleges.
Yeah, we consider all those partners. And by the way, if you're interested in buying the book, we've got a QR code here. Simply scan that and you can get a copy of the book. I don't know why you wouldn't. The price is very inexpensive, especially relative to the information that you're going to get and how much money it's going to save you in recruiting. You'd be surprised. It'd be thousands of dollars, literally. So, yeah, we're talking about external agencies today and utilizing them as further advocates for your organization. And again, Becki, talk to me a little bit about what you're thinking around this, and let's have a conversation.
Yeah. So external organizations, again, you do not, as an HR person, need to or want to do it on your own. There are so many people and organizations out there that can help you.
Yeah, I just this is one that frustrates me. I see so many HR people that here's their vision of recruiting. Okay, hiring manager comes to me with a job opening. Okay, let me get it out on Indeed. Let me get it out on ZipRecruiter, and now I'll sit and wait. And then the resumes will come in and I'll scan those resumes and we'll determine who we hire. That's lazy, one. Two, it's not recruiting. That's not recruiting. Mm-mm. That's no more recruiting than having a billboard that's your selling approach. They don't relate. Recruiting is getting out there and drawing candidates in and selling them on your opportunities, right? Yeah. All the things that we talked about, but also leveraging all of your community resources, right? Because these agencies, these organizations that we talk about, they want to get their people hired. And if you've got these opportunities, guess what? They become your advocate. Now, all of a sudden, they've got 4 or 5 people that they're representing that they want to get hired, and they're coming to you for that. And keep in mind, I'm not talking about staffing agencies. I'm not going to name any. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about other community organizations, colleges, universities, trade schools, high schools that have people who want to work and are interested in your jobs. So what you're doing is you're creating this pipeline. I know we hear that term a lot, but you're creating relationships whereby these organizations come to you and they say, okay, we've got a graduating class of 20 people. Here's the skill class or whatever it is. But they're acting as your advocate for your roles. Go ahead.
Well, and what makes me think when you talk about recruiting are military branches.
Oh, that's another one. There's another agency.
Yes. And yeah, that's exactly. And, they don't generally sit and wait for people to come to them in their office. They're at job fairs. They're out and about. We've seen them at races when we used to race. And they're sitting there standing at a table, calling people over and recruiting.
Well, and that's how military does. They're out there. They're getting into the schools. They're making their presence known. And that's true recruiting.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting in a company and you think, oh, I'm the recruiting manager here. I make sure all of our jobs get posted on our website and they get posted to Indeed. You're not a recruiting manager. You're an admin staff. That's what you're doing. What we're talking about here is recruiting. And it's interesting you say military because the flip side of that is when you've got military personnel who are transitioning back into civilian life, there yet is another source of talent.
Yep.
If you're tapping into it, if you're connecting with these military organizations, these organizations that work with former military to get them back in the workforce, again, another great source because they're going to come to you and they're going to say, gosh, Becki, we got a lot of good people. Or, hey, I know you hire for this kind of role. Guess what? I've got a person that's coming out. So now they're doing your work for you. That's the other beauty of this.
Right. Yeah. And another direction that the HR people can go is with our reentry folks.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
There are so many organizations out there that are trying to help people that have been imprisoned and getting back into the workforce.
Second chance. And again, we're not saying hire everybody. You can still have your standards. Know what your standards are relative to this. But if it's a person that was arrested for something that really isn't a heinous crime, it's not a bad crime, maybe it was their first time, they've paid their dues to society, as we say, and they've gone through the program and they're coming out. This is a person that's looking for a fresh start. Mm-hmm. Determine what your tolerance level is for risk, and you might be surprised. And here's another source of employees if you're struggling for roles, because these individuals are the good ones are really just looking for an opportunity. Yep. So it could be, all we can offer is an entry level job. It's going to be in the warehouse. Mm-hmm. Guess what? They're thrilled by that.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember talking to different people, because this is something that's a passion of ours. And I've talked to so many people who fall in that category, second chance. That's all they're looking for. They are thrilled to get any job. We heard a story about one guy, his job was to get into Burger King. He just wanted, that was something that meant a lot to him. Yep. And that he did that. Keep in mind, we're talking about people that are just looking for a second chance. They've made a mistake in life. They pay their dues. And again, determine where your tolerance level is, determine what sometimes it's your insurances and so on that dictate who you can and can't hire. But you might be surprised who you will get in from that pool alone that will be very dedicated, never miss a day's work well with everyone, because they've got more at stake. Like, you've given them a chance at a new life. And they realize that and they appreciate that. We've heard so many of those stories.
Right. And they many times will come out of prison with certifications and even high school degree, GEDs, college degree certifications, which they never would have thought of had they not been in prison.
Well, exactly. And I'll throw some kudos out to a couple of different organizations. One here in our local area, University of Akron. They've got, within their polymers program, they work with certain facilities, penitentiaries and so on, to get these individuals who are behind bars at that point, to get them trained, get them degrees, and then come out with this advanced education.
Exactly.
Like, they can come in and work in a lot of different fields relative to polymers. So there's one example, but there's Sinclair College, there's some other ones, and I apologize if I'm forgetting you. But to your point, Becki, these aren't individuals who have sat in a cell for 23 hours a day and all that. They've gotten training, they've got certifications. In Ohio, especially, we do some special things to whereby companies, and I was part of a company that did this, where we go into the facilities and we work with them to have them do work for us. Mm-hmm. So they're not only getting their degrees and certifications, but they're doing some of this work and learning and understanding how it should be done. So they get released. They've got ready-made skills.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's, and again, we have dozens of external organizations. Give us a call, send an email. We can give you a list of those, which we're not going to talk about them. But we did talk about the colleges, universities, and let's kind of delve into that a little bit.
Yeah. And so a couple of things. First off, here's what we know, and I know you agree with this. They're dying for companies to come in, okay? Because these students, they love it. They've had a professor that's standing in front of them all semester long, telling them all this, that, and the other. But these students are thinking, how is this going to get me hired? Well, it's a beautiful thing when we come in, we go into these situations, and we're a company that's hiring. They have so many good questions. They're so excited for us to be there. They remember who we are. They follow up. We get emails. We start building these connections and so on. These students are dying for you to come in, and so are the professors, to talk about real life. What's it like to work there? Professors, I've worked with so many, they'll bring their students out and they'll tour our facility. Again, here we go with tours again.
Yep.
And, learn about our jobs and learn about what people really do. Because again, they've sat in a classroom and they've learned what a mechanical engineer does, but they've never really spoken to a mechanical engineer unless they've had an internship. Here now, they're coming into our company and they're sitting across from a mechanical engineer and what it really looks like. It's a beautiful thing. And again, the students love it. The colleges love it because it's making that connection between college and real world. And that's now more than ever is such a big message within academic circles. They want engagement from companies that are actively engaged in working with their students. And again, we're not saying you're promising a hire. We're saying you're coming in, talking about your company, talking about your jobs, answering their questions about what the real world looks like. And again, they're dying to have company representatives come.
Right. And I was going to say, I highly suggest HR folks that you go to college classes. And I know you've done that and speak to these students Get them involved. Again, have them take a tour. You can plan that as well. But then when you go the next step, and I've heard this, and it's not always the professors who can help with the job situation. You want to go to your career services folks. They are the ones who are connected with the students. They know who's looking for a job, an internship. Connect with those career service folks at each of the colleges.
Some wonderful ones.
Yes.
I mean, the names are going through my mind at some point, so I'll leave somebody out. But where else you can help there is, and again, we've done plenty of these, mock interviews. So you devote a few hours of your time on a particular afternoon to go in and do some mock interviews with students and coach them. Well, guess what? There's your name on the door, who they're meeting with. You give a chance to give them a business card. The career services people love you because you've helped them out a little bit. So guess what? You're getting calls from them now saying, hey, I know you're looking for this kind of person. Well, guess what? I've got this really good student. So again, they become your advocates. And the more advocates you have around your brand, the easier it becomes to recruit. And you are building pipelines then. They're doing a lot of the work for you because they know about you. And again, they're very appreciative that you've come in and given a little bit of your time. And again, we're talking about a small investment. We're not talking about a huge investment. And again, maybe you pick a few select schools in your area that fit the majors that you're looking for. And you say, okay, every semester, I'm going to give each of those schools, 3 hours of my time. And it's 4 different schools. Okay, you've given them 12 hours of your time over a semester. Maybe it's coming into classes talking. Maybe it's giving them tours of the facility. Maybe it's doing some mock interviewing. And you'd be amazed at how that brand awareness starts to kick around. Because the other thing that students do is they talk. And shoot, I built some pipelines that I never imagined would happen, like out-of-state pipelines. Where we hired 2 students, and all of a sudden, I'm getting all of these students from that particular college because those 2 students had such a wonderful experience. That's the power of what we're talking about.
Right. And one thing that you forgot that we thoroughly enjoy are judging. We've done Cleveland State and we have done Kent State. Kent State, Cleveland State, Akron, and we've judged students
what's poster projects?
Yeah, they're poster projects, they're capstones, they're we've judged, we're able to talk to them, we're able to tell them companies who would be hiring, talk about internships. So those have been a lot of fun as well.
And another great example is like the opportunities are there. And keep in mind, these representatives of university, they're dying to find people. Like they're struggling to find companies to participate. And it's such a sad thing. So there's no harm in reaching out. Let's say I know I keep saying engineering, reaching out to an engineering program at a college in your area and saying, hey, we're an employer. We do a fair number of hiring of mechanical, electrical engineers and everything. If you need someone from an employer side to help in your program in some way or volunteer time or whatever, do it. Here's another. I picked up another one. Choose Ohio. Choose Ohio first. We have that in Ohio. So I'm on a board, a couple of different boards relative to that. And I help the universities out in advising their programs. So now we're on the other side talking to them about how can they make their programs more effective for students coming out and getting jobs. So again, they become, an asset for you because you're able to shape the program to say, you know what, here's what I'm running into. Students that graduate, they typically lack this, so they need this. Well, now you're providing that input into the program and they're adjusting the program. So now you're getting even better candidates than you were before. And don't be fooled too. We think so many times with college and universities, we're just going to get new graduates. That's not true either. These students continue to network. The colleges continue to keep in touch with their former students. So you may get someone with 3, 5, 10 years of experience because they've maintained a relationship with the college and so on. So again, when we talk about partnering with these agencies, we're talking about a full range of positions, a full range of experience levels, a full range of competencies. It becomes pretty amazing.
Yeah, and most of the colleges, universities use something like Handshake, and you can actually click on a box there that you want to reach out to alumni. Do you want the job, the positions to go out? And there's no charge, and you can reach out to alumni as well. So,
and your reach grows incrementally from that.
So let's just briefly talk, because we have a whole segment on internships, but we have mentioned it a couple of times with internships and co-ops. And to me, there is a difference. So the co-op to me tends to be more with the engineering. You're out there, construction, you're out there in the field. The internships to me, because internships can be office people. your marketing, your accounting, any finance areas, your HR.
Yeah.
So just let's briefly go through that.
When I think about a co-op, for one, you're going to have it really plugged into the program. And again, we keep mentioning a couple of schools. Akron, within their engineering program, has a co-op. So that means you're required to go through that assignment, those assignments at a company, at a work site, in order to complete the program. It's very structured. It's very tied back into the school. There's a documentation process around it. And again, don't get overwhelmed. Again, that's why we're here too.
Right.
Part of our company offering is helping you navigate these internships and co-ops. So don't think, oh my God, that's overwhelming.
Right, exactly.
Because we can guide you through that. But an internship isn't as structured necessarily. Sometimes it can be part of a college program. Sometimes it's not. But again, in all of those cases, it's getting people into your organization who are at that college level to get them some work experience. You're getting people that are willing to learn and grow. They've got a certain experience level. Certainly the cost is a lot less, right? The typical internship now is anywhere from $15 to $25 an hour, depending on what the role is, the education level, and so on. But still, it's a fraction of what you would pay for a true person in that role if they were full-time and regular. So there's a benefit there as well. But again, you're building that pipeline. You're getting a chance to test drive, so to speak, that person, see what they're like. Hey, 12 weeks. You get to see what their work style's like, or could they be a good employee? You're building relationships with them, the university, their friends, and so on. There's very little negative that I've ever found in
exactly.
internship.
And again, we have talked to so many students that have done internships. They're actively in theirs. They're amazing what they learn in just a 12-week time period over a summer or semester. It's amazing what they learn.
Well, and that's a good point, because keep in mind, they're already geared to learn and absorb information. So they're already in that mindset. So they're primed and ready to come into your workplace and continue to learn and to grow and to soak up information. Keep that in mind as well, compared to the employee that's been there for a while. Because again, we all know we get into a job, we become less primed to learn unless that's part of our nature. But now you've got this student who's already, for pretty far along in their program, junior or senior level. So they're pretty far along. And now they're still in this mindset of, okay, I'm just absorbing, I'm learning. I can be coached, I can be directed. Because I think sometimes that's the other thought. Oh, this generation, you can't teach them anything. That's never been our experience. No. These students that we work with, again, they aren't some elite group. These are across all different types of colleges and universities. They're going to school to get a degree and make a good living. If they're coming into your business, I can assure you, they are going to give their best effort. They are going to want to learn and absorb information because they know there's something at stake here. They've got something to prove.
Yeah. And if you don't have an internship program or want to improve yours, again, give us a call, send us an email. We are more than happy to help you, and it can be done very quickly.
Yeah. And again, this isn't something theoretical. I started my career in HR with 2 internships at 2 very large companies. Becki, you started your teaching career way back when in internships. So we're familiar with them from the ground level up, but I built internship programs for all of my career at every employer I ever worked with. So I'm very, very familiar with what it takes to have a really effective internship that generates the kind of results that we're looking for. So we'd love to work with you on that. What else, Becki?
Well, let's wrap this up. Again, we're dealing with partners, colleges, universities, external organizations, and talking about, they always want to know, measuring success. What is our return on investment?
Yeah. So, you're going to be shocked at your return on investment. Because again, I mentioned the example, okay, we devote 12 hours a semester to giving our time to this university. Okay, so you do the calculation. Let's say you're making $100,000 a year, just for example's sake. So that means your time is worth $50 an hour. So that 12 is $600. That's all you've really spent on your time. Well, what are you paying in fees? How much does your time take to recruit? I can assure you it's a lot more than $600. So even if you only got one hire, what's the value of that one hire relative to the time that you put in? It's astronomical, right? We always say to replace an employee, what's the numbers? Anywhere from 20 to 50% of their annual salary. So even a safe number. Okay, let's say it's an entry-level position. We're paying it $50,000 a year, and we're going to devalue it and say only 20% of our time. That still would have cost us $10,000 to fill that position versus the $600 you devoted to it.
Exactly.
Again, these are real numbers. These aren't things I'm making up. That's why I walked you through the example. These aren't made up numbers. These are real numbers. So your $600 investment of time, if it just generated one, I can assure you it's going to generate way more than one. Never have we left any sort of a college event that we didn't have a whole handful of resumes, 10, 12 at a minimum for every single event. So again, your 12 hours, what if it generates 100 resumes? You're telling me you're not going to get a few hires out of that? Of course you are. And again, no other work's required. You already got to meet them. They're wanting to work for you. That's why they gave the resume. You've eliminated all those extra steps of posting the job, making sure people know about all that, the resume review. That's all done. And you had an opportunity to interview them.
Exactly. Right.
So you've already sort of done the interview. You don't need to have another interview. I've done these. You've already met them. You've already interviewed. The next step is present them to your hiring managers and say, hey, is this somebody you want to hire? And then you have them come in. You have a little introductory meeting with them to say, okay, here's what the day looks like. Here's what you're going to go over. We want you to do your best. I'll catch you at the end of all the interviews. And you've already given everybody in the interview process a little bit of a prep, how you know them, the experience. You'd be amazed how much smoother that interview process goes. So there again, you're saving money even on that part of the process. So again, return on investment, I can give you real numbers. If you want to sit down and go over these, we can calculate these numbers down to the dollar as far as how much you're saving. But again, you see the difference. Extraordinary.
Well, and at our last event with judging at Cleveland State, I think we met 7 students.
Yes.
We would have immediately hired 4 of them.
Hands down.
Immediately.
And the 3 others, I could see where I could get them a job. They're all good quality students. Any one of them could have been hired. Yeah, 4 we'd have hired on the spot.
Yes.
That would have been enough to say you're hired.
Right.
Based upon a 15-minute meeting.
Well, and we know that the referral percentage is extremely high when you hire somebody. And to me, going to these events, talking to these people and referring is whether I refer them, you refer them, we refer them to our company, is that right there is a referral process, and immediately hiring these folks.
And what do we also notice at all of these events? When the students are done presenting or talking, whatever it is, a group of other students is gathering around them and they're talking. So now that one contact turns into 4 other people that hear about the experience that student just had. And hey, who was that company? Well, it's
exactly.
company. And they're all talking. And pretty soon you get those students walking up to you, or they're taking your business card. So now again, you're growing your reach with little to no effort.
Yeah, and it's fun.
It is.
So we've been these events and it's super fun. So
they feed us well.
Yeah.
They really. It was a taco bar.
It was a taco bar.
Yeah, they treat us well because, again, it's hard for them to find volunteers to do this. The universities, the colleges, the other agencies, and I don't want to make it just colleges and universities. We've gone to plenty of events at other agencies where they're dying to have people get involved and the community get involved and companies get involved and learn and grow and have a chance to hire some other people. So these aren't things that feel like a chore. This is fun. I look forward to it.
Yeah, we do too. Yeah, we definitely do. And it almost always is food.
Exactly.
Thank you again for joining us on the HR department. And we look forward to hearing from you, whether you have comments, reviews, if you want to give us a call at 330-541-5533.
Thanks for joining us on the HR department, powered by HRKyle Services, your trusted partner for HR consulting, outplacement, talent strategy, leadership development, and career coaching. If today's conversation got you thinking, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the show with anyone navigating the ever-changing world of work. To learn more about our services, whether you're a company leader, an HR pro, or a job seeker, visit HRKyle.com. Until next time, keep leading with purpose, hiring with intention, and showing up for your people.